If care is not taken, some of these antibiotics will stop working completely. Hello everyone, welcome back to Tombstocks Health. Today we are going to be talking about a very important topic. But before we go into the topic of the day, let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever used medicine or drugs to treat a particular infection or illness and it works perfectly the first time you used it, but the second time you try to use the same drugs to treat the same infection or illness, it didn't seem to work as effectively as it did the first time? I'm sure you must have thought to yourself, maybe I bought a fake, maybe the drugs have become weak. But the truth is, the drugs didn't become weak. It was the germs that became stronger. And that brings us to the topic of the day, antimicrobial resistance. Let us break down antimicrobial resistance. Infections are caused by tiny organisms or creatures known as microbes. Microbes include bacteria, fungi, viruses, or parasites. The drugs that are used to treat the infections caused by these microbes are called antimicrobial drugs. Antimicrobial drugs include antiviral, antifungal, or antibacterial drugs, otherwise known as antibiotics. But when these drugs are used too often or are used incorrectly, these microbes learn to survive them. And when this happens, the drugs may no longer work. And this is what we refer to as antimicrobial resistance. So basically, the germs are just getting smarter over time. One very common example that many people can relate to is antibiotics. Antibiotics are drugs that are used to treat bacterial infections that are caused by bacteria. But oftentimes, people use antibiotics in ways that actually make the bacteria stronger. For example, buying antibiotics without medical advice simply because somebody somewhere who had the same illness or infection asked you to because it works for them. Or stopping medication simply because you feel better or your symptoms have vanished. Or using leftover drugs from previous illnesses because you did not finish your drugs the first time you were sick and you stopped them because you feel like you felt better and you left those drugs. Now that you are not feeling the same symptoms that you felt the first time, you feel like you can go back to those drugs that you stopped. Now all these things may seem harmless, but they are simply teaching the bacteria how to survive, become stronger, or even smarter. And it is a big issue and it is a very scary one at that because the stronger this bacteria becomes, the more they are able to spread. And this simply means that infections that used to be easy to treat will become difficult to treat in the future. In fact, according to the World Health Organization, antimicrobial resistance is one of the biggest health threats facing the world today. And if care is not taken, some of these antibiotics will stop working completely. But the good news is, preventing this problem starts with small habits such as only using antibiotics when it is prescribed by healthcare professionals, ensuring that you finish the full course of medication even if you feel better, and ensure that you don't use leftover medications. Small actions like this ensure that antibiotics continue to work effectively. So the next time you take antibiotics, ensure you use them properly because it protects you, your family, and your community. This is Sims and this has been Sims Talks Health, where we keep our conversations real and simple. If you know you found this helpful, kindly like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next Health Talk. Bye!